Hey, you guys. I think there's some audio. I'm going to see if this logs me in and lets me see. That doesn't let me do that. Okay. What I'm doing here, what a nice afternoon here, Sunday afternoon, Southern California. And we thought that it was going to be fall time weather moving from here on out since it was 70 degrees or whatever it was, a high of 70. But then we hit 90 degrees again. So, as usual, it seems like we're just staying in perpetual summer mode. What I'm doing right now is I am trying to get to my channel so that way I can take a look at the. Let me mute this thing. Nice, it's moving quickly. Okay, so what we're doing today is this is going to be a long needed pruning of my front yard test orchard. I'm not out here all that often, and I want to make sure. I think I'm coming through audio wise. Yeah. This front yard test orchard has 8 trees in it, and this is really my first foray into high density planting as well as just fruit trees in general. I remember it was 8.5 years ago, and I saw this video of Tom Spellman with Dave Wilson Nursery, and he was talking through how to do this high density planting, or what they call backyard orchard culture. And I ran out, I think, that weekend, and I went and got a bunch of fruit trees, and these are those trees, 8.5 years old. Now, they're shaded out a bit by this olive tree here, but I'm going to quickly show you what we've got going on in here. So we have here a 4-in-1 close planting. You may notice that the trunks are about maybe a yard apart from each other. Here we have a royal apricot, a panamint nectarine. We have a Fay Alberta peach, which is a late peach. And then back there, a little guy, we have a May Pride peach. And then we also have 3 apple trees here. Here we have an Anna apple. There we have a Gala or Gala apple. And over there we have a Fuji apple. And then here, this thing is like the champion of the front yard test orchard. This is my sweet pomegranate. It's kind of like Eversweet pomegranate, but the arrows aren't as light colored. And so that's this thing has just been a champion. I've got that in an espalier method. And so you probably can't see it too well, but we have a trellis that's right there. And then this thing is supposed to be up against a 2-dimensional thing. But as you can see, the growing season has really grown it out. So the things I'm going to try to accomplish, I don't know if I bit off more than I can chew, but I'm going to try to prune this thing in 10 minutes. I'm going to do a brief Q&A afterward. And so what I would like for you to do is, if you have any questions, now would be a good time to put the questions in that live chat, and that'll enable me to come back quickly and look at those. I've got about 15 minutes or so to do the whole thing here. So I'm very excited to try this. Let me see if it'll let me switch my camera so you can see more. And I'm going to show you a couple of things. So if this is working right, you should still hear my audio, but see a little bit of what's going on here. So let me just rotate this so you can see more of it. If I zoom out, I don't think it's going to let me zoom out. Interesting. Okay, well, I'm just going to pull this back so you can watch the whole thing unfold. All right, now. Okay. So the 2 main things I'm going to be using for this pruning are going to be these. Well, I've got a pair of my Corona handheld pruners, as well as I've got a backup Craftsman just in case, since I'm going to be on the clock. And then here, in case I get to some sort of big thing that needs cutting, I've got my big Corona. These things are awesome. I was cranking through. They've got like a 2-inch throat here, which is just perfect for some of the larger branches. These don't get too much. These don't get, the calipers aren't that gigantic on these. These have stayed really, really small. And if anything, they've convinced me to not plant stuff in a very shaded area, because really the pomegranate and maybe 1 or 2 of those apples do really well. But all of these stone fruit that are very, very shaded, the fruit quality just isn't that good. They're not that sweet. So I would not recommend planting any stone fruit where it's going to get significant shade like this. But it was definitely something that got me started. Okay, I'm wondering how to set the clock up. Oh, nice, I can see myself too, and that means you can see me. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a timer. I wish there was a way to have the timer be on there with you, but I don't know how to do that. So what I'm going to do is, oh man, I think I'm going to leave the pomegranate for last. I think that's going to be the biggest doozy. And so I'm going to run through and I'm going to be describing what I'm doing as I do it. So, oh no, My little timer disappeared. Oh, because I didn't set it. All right. 10 minutes, 8 trees. I'm going to work my tail off. I'm going to bring, in these multi-plantings, the idea is I'm trying to bring balance to the multi-planting. So you'll notice like on this royal apricot and that the May Pride peach, I'm not going to really be doing that much pruning because they're already very small. I might just be doing some tipping. But for these larger ones, I'm essentially doing what my summer pruning ought to have been, and that is to bring balance to the planting. So these 4 are going to be balanced. These apples are going to be brought into balance. And then this is going to be the big bubba right here. I'm going to be working my way through just getting this taken care of. So, oh no, I think we're having some construction done here. I think our guy strapped this thing down. I think he may have ripped off a branch. We'll find out once we get in there, eh? Okay, starting the timer. On your mark, get set, go. All right, we're working our way here, starting with trying to get, check the height first, looking for outer growing buds. And I'm trying to get it level with this royal apricot. Man, I've never done this on the clock before. I'm so thinking this is not going to happen in 10 minutes. But we're going to see how close I get. All right, that's dead. I'm not going to mess with any dead stuff. We'll get that stuff later. Balance coming out is okay. Main stuff is pruning up high. This one's a big one. All right, that's a good one there. Let's get this cut here, definitely up here. So we're not doing anything, pruning anything in the middle. We're just trying to get here and prune for size, for height. Anything that is going into the middle can be taken out during winter pruning, but all that I'm doing right now is trying to reduce the overall size and vigor of the tree. So summer pruning is, sometimes people think of summer pruning as having to happen during a certain set of months or something like that. And it doesn't have to. It just happens anytime there's warm weather, when the tree is active, and it's more of a style of pruning than a specific set of dates of pruning. So yeah, coming out here, seriously, the very 1st of November, can you believe that this stuff is still green? Some of you guys out there watching are probably in places where it's already cold and maybe even have had some snow. I know there were some in Texas. Not here. We were so excited to make a fire in the fireplace, and then the air conditioning kicked in. So it gives you an idea of what's actually going on here. I believe that this royal apricot is on its way out. I really believe that. Oh man, this is a big one. I almost had to go get those loppers over there. In fact, this does need to come down. Loppers. Okay, by turning, I can kind of get it. You learn these little tricks once you've made a few hundred cuts. Okay, so this, just for size, height, and aiming for outer facing buds if you can help it. Things that are facing out from the middle of the grouping. Okay, that actually looks pretty good. That did that. Okay, apples. Let's focus on apples. Apples fruit usually on spurs, and those fruiting spurs take a couple of years to develop typically. So if you see a fruiting spur, you usually want to avoid getting it and chopping it off because they fruit repeatedly on those spurs, unlike things like, peaches and stuff that want newer wood to be refreshed. So what I'm doing here is I'm tipping these, and what I'm trying to do with tipping is to encourage this stuff to just grow out more bushes. How am I doing on time? Oh, I got 7 minutes left. This one's still going to be the bear. Okay, this Anna apple for a warm climate is a terrific apple. It was productive like right when I planted it, and I have been largely disappointed with my other apples, but that Anna apple from day one, it seems, has just been terrific. So if you're in a warm climate, Anna apple does great. Dorset Golden does great. Now, I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive in tipping these apples because this Anna never wants to grow tall. It likes staying right there, whereas these other ones want to get a little bit leggy. And so, all right, how are we doing on time? 6.5 minutes. This is going to be tight. All right, some people checking it out. No questions yet. If you've got any questions or are wondering about anything in here or in the back, now's a good time to plug them in. I'll have a couple of minutes once I'm done with this. 6 minutes. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going for size. So this one you notice is a lot taller here, and so I'm going to be a lot more intense about pruning it for size, since it's much more vigorous and it wants to grow really, really fast and tall, but it's got to be in balance with the grouping, because otherwise it'll start shading it out. Okay, just for height, oh my gosh, 5 minutes for that pomegranate. I can't imagine it. I feel like I've got too many cuts to make. I'm tempted just to start making those other cuts where you cut like a bunch of them off just with a single giant cut. Okay, you can't see what I'm doing over here, but there's all this stuff, all this growth over here. Part of the reason why I'm doing this video is because I want you guys to feel okay. Don't be afraid of pruning. Oh my goodness. All right. Now this is going to be kind of brutal because, this pomegranate is spiky. And so if there was some easy way to prune and wear gloves at the same time, then I totally would. But unfortunately, gloves make it so that it's harder to feel stuff. So I was trading speed for comfort. And okay, come up a couple more here. This is dead. Oh, no blight, thankfully, that's visible. All right, I got about 5 minutes left here, 4.5 minutes. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna get the, I don't even know what to do. Oh my gosh. Okay, so part of this exercise here truly is to train everything back against a two-dimensional structure. So I'm gonna be making some pretty brutal cuts, and you're gonna see a lot of the material of this tree start to disappear. Oh man, if I could just get there. Here's some gorgeous, usually you wanna do your pruning after you harvest, and we're pretty much harvested right here. Pomegranates, so let me put those over there. Every of the other ones on here got eaten by rodents. Every single one. Oh man, how are we doing on time? 3 minutes, 4 minutes left still. I think may have gotten bumped, so I may have cheated myself with extra 30 seconds or something. Maybe that, yeah, little pomegranate segue. Oh my gosh. You know, now it really makes me wonder when I tell my wife I'm gonna go out and prune for a few minutes. No wonder she looks at me like, yeah, right. Because I think this is proving to me that this doesn't just take a few minutes. It takes, 8 trees in 10 minutes is pretty lofty. Oh, my gosh. The fun part is when I have my kids come out here and go, hey, go outside and clean that up. Oh, 3.5 minutes. Is it possible? My goodness. Somebody was telling me when I asked this question earlier, do you think I'm gonna... I think you're probably tuned in right now laughing at what I'm doing because you know better. That's like when one of my kids says, hey, do you think I can make that jump? I go, yeah, I think you can make that jump. And then I'd be sure to film it. I don't actually do that because I really believe they can make the jump, but oh no. So pomegranates, one interesting thing with these is that they fruit at the tips of growth. So you want to create as many little growthy tips and as bushy as you can because you're going to get a lot more fruit when you do that. Oh my goodness, this isn't going to cut through. All right, 2 minutes and 43 seconds left on my 10-minute pruning. Is it possible? I still think I need to get those loppers. I get confused between the two. Getting my, do all the small stuff or go get the loppers. So I'm cutting tons of this back. Two-dimensional, that's what we're going for. This is what's called an informal espalier or espalier. And what that means is that it's not following a rigid shape. A lot of times if you see these espalier trees, they'll be following the lines of the trellis that they're on, maybe going straight across. But this one, I was just trying to keep it tied against the structure, and that's okay too. It's called an informal espalier. Oh my gosh, what am I? 2 minutes and 12 seconds of pause on me again. Sorry, the pomegranate did it, not me. Ouch. Spiky. Not too bad though. Not as bad as it has been in the past, thankfully. Oh my goodness. The thing that's interesting about this is I spend a lot more time looking at what I'm cutting, and here I'm just really going for, it's an exercise in just saying, look, if you see the cut that needs to be made, just make the cut. Don't worry about the details. The details can work themselves out later. And so, yeah, I'm gonna need to do the last minute to use my, it's stalled again. I should have used my phone, except for I'm using my phone for the actual stream, so that makes it a little bit harder. Ow! Okay, I'm gonna cut this way back so that way it pops up. If you're timing on your own, you're gonna be laughing at my timekeeping because every time I touch one of these bushes, it seems to grab my time. So according to this, I've got 1 minute and 43 seconds left. Oh boy, is this the home stretch? Now I'm getting caught by an apple. Ah! All right, I'm gonna cut here. So this, what has happened is there's not a lot of stuff that's growing on the inside of this. So when I make these cuts, it's gonna hopefully encourage some branching on the inside. So that way I can take this entire structure back. All right, 1 minute and 15 seconds. Oh my goodness. I don't think it's gonna work. I don't think it's gonna make it. Let's see. Let's see, we're making some big cuts. I'm economizing my cuts like this. Oh, nice. I couldn't tell if that pomegranate actually was a whole pomegranate or if it was also eaten by rodents. Okay. This is where I feel like just coming through with some hedge shears, some hedge clippers. 48 seconds, how in the world? Oh man, I'm so close, but this is, if I had like another minute, I think I'd be in good shape. If I had another minute, I'd be awesome. Oh man. You know, and if I was a little less honest, I would say that the stuff back here is pruned, even if it wasn't. But it's already looking a lot better though. Oh no! I lost my shears. 12, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, hopefully I didn't end up sanding my blade. Okay guys, what do you think? 10 minutes in, how's it looking? This is totally backwards. I don't even know how to get this to lock now. I'll have to fiddle with this later. What are you guys thinking as far as this this pruning? Can you see how this is largely, there's a lot more balance here? That was absolutely the craziest pruning session I've ever done in my life. And I've pruned a lot, over the years. But what do you think? Anything you're seeing that you're wondering about? Why I skipped something or why I didn't do something else? Put that in the chat over here. I see idea that grows. My favorite plant out of the ones that I have here. Okay, hey, you want to know something? I checked something. I made a list the other day because, and this is kind of a little bit interesting, I'm going to be on the Epic Gardening podcast in a few weeks. And so what I did was just to kind of synthesize what's going on in the orchard. I made a list of all of the trees and fruit-bearing like bushes and vines that I have. And so between the trees, the bushes, and the vines, like passion fruit, blueberries, and then all of the fruit trees, between the front and the back, I counted 80 trees, and the vast majority are trees, but then we've got some of that other stuff. So of the stuff out here, what I think I like the most is I think I really like the pomegranate. I'm so partial to pomegranate because when you get them, they're so unique. They're a lot of fun to just slowly eat. And these varieties are tasty. Sweet is one terrific. The wonderful variety is kind of the standard one if you were to go to the store and buy it. But Parfianca, Parfinka, Parfianca is hands down the best one I've ever had. And it has a lot of the flavor of a wonderful, but the seeds are very, very, they're just so slight compared to wonderful. It's got kind of more tough seeds. So idea that grows, that's what I like there. Agro-American, so you have an apple tree, you're pruning, but that's very unbalanced. Cut it back till everything is even. Yes. Yeah. Cut it back till everything's even. If something is uneven, you want to cut that back, and that'll give an opportunity for this stuff that is smaller. We'll be able to then grow, and you're going to have a more balanced tree. It's just better that way because if the system is already established and it's pulling a bunch of nutrients and stuff, it almost is going to end up overshadowing in some cases the rest of the tree. So yes, cut it back. And just do some really light pruning. Just maybe tip the side that's not as strong, but tackle the side that's more vigorous. I don't presently keep anything that I cut to propagate. So can you see all of that? Oh, good. All right, cool. I don't keep anything to propagate presently, but I may. I know that pomegranate can propagate itself. You put it in some stuff. A number of other things like my ever-bearing mulberry. I know those passion fruit do that really well. Banana, super easy to propagate. So banana I did. I actually cut out one of the pups and planted it next to it, and that's going to be a new plant. So happy about that. Yeah, idea that grows. Thanks, you guys. So I'm going to take the camera off and just show you quickly a couple of detail pieces here, and I'll swap back to the front facing. So, all right, hey. Well, that was pretty wild. Okay, so you'll get some close-up look here. Okay, so this is the Anna apple, and as you're noticing, oh, I need to hold it down here. As you can see here, there's a little bud that's growing out. That's what I was trying to pay attention to as I was going through that stuff. What you see here as far as the pomegranate goes, this is really just trying to take this shrub and push the shrub back that way. And let's see here. Here's this Panamint nectarine. This thing is probably what I chopped the most off of. And that compared to that little guy. Now, balance is kind of a relative thing a little bit. There's a little bit of wiggle room on that. There's no way that I'm going to cut these healthy, vigorous trees down to what that little May Pride peach is doing. And so that thing's going to have to come up and do its thing, or it's just going to have to be taken out eventually. But yeah, Panamint nectarine, this Fay Alberta peach, something that happened, this is kind of interesting. When I made my initial pruning cut, I'm going to switch to this lens so you can see it more closely. So out of this one, Dwight from Honduras, this has just a single trunk that's coming off of it. And that's because when I first planted it, I didn't have a viable thing coming off this side. And so when it broke off, I've just been kind of training this one up to do that. Same thing with the Panamint nectarine, has a couple. These apples are a lot more balanced. If you go into the middle, you'll notice that inside, we've got some healthy structure that is formed using this open vase pruning method. I should indicate to you that if you're going to be pruning, there are a few main things. In this front yard test orchard are two main ones. This espalier method, this two-dimensional, and you can't see it up there, but what I really need to do is just come through with my big loppers and just take the top off of that thing, because I'm really just wanting it to take up the space of that wall. But one is that two-dimensional espalier method. Can you see that? How it's now two-dimensional against that? And the other is this open vase pruning where the branches are kind of doing this. Something that's also really common, it seems like in colder climates for some reason, and I don't know the reason for this, is they'll sometimes do like a central leader, they call it. And so that's different, where you have a central leader, kind of what you traditionally think of a tree looking like, going straight up and then having branches that come off of it. I think it offers some eventual support, especially if your tree gets really tall. This method is to keep your tree short and within reach. I never want to climb on a ladder for anything, except for maybe getting those bananas. I'm really looking forward to those being ready in a month or two. Okay, let me look on my thing here, see if you guys have any more questions before. Yes, it's a pomegranate, Dwight. But look how terrible this is. Imagine you come out and you see a pomegranate looking like this and you think, ooh, this is good. And then you turn it around and every single arrow has been eaten from it. And that has happened across the entire thing. Every pomegranate on this entire tree, with the exception of maybe 3 or 4 of them. Look at them. There's like little floating corpses. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's almost like when there's a shipwreck and you just see these little things floating in the water. It's kind of a little gruesome. But this is gruesome, coming in here and seeing something look like this. So, really sad. How do I prevent the critters from eating the fruit? I talked to them real nice. No, what I did was, and you can't see it. No, you can see it. Can you see right over there? I found that there is there have been a trail of critters, rats and stuff running along this. So I put a trap on there. I've bought like 12 traps and put them along the walls, along the places where I know that they generally will go. And so, and I've caught many rats, actually in the last couple weeks since I did that. I caught maybe 10 rats or so. Unfortunately, caught a couple of birds also, which is really sad when that happens. I'm not trying to do that. Yeah, put some fake snakes on my trees. That's an idea. The problem is I've got little kids and they're gonna run in every 5 minutes and tell me that they see a snake even if they know it's fake. So, just so that you guys know, if you're watching this, the re-upload of this is going to be a higher quality HD. So if there's some visual details that aren't coming through because it's live streamed, if you go back and watch this, you'll see it a lot more clearly. I might have to do the fake snakes thing. That's a good idea. So yeah, I actually did a video recently on keeping away critters, and I have some ideas on what I'm doing with these rat traps, but also how to keep birds away, because birds, they're working in pairs. The birds poke a hole in there, and then the rats seem to come and kind of clean the whole thing out after that. So, all right, let's see. Cool. Well, it looks like we, right on, Dwight. Cool. Thanks for letting me know that. Well, hey, listen, this is so fun to jump out here, do this. I've been putting this off, and I thought, what better way to do it than to try to do some sort of crazy challenge. I almost made it. I feel like if I had another 2 or 3 minutes that I could have just come across the top of that and just leveled that thing off, but I didn't make it. I failed. So it turns out that 1.15 minutes per tree just isn't gonna cut it. Anyway, thanks you guys so much for tuning in. Hope to see you guys soon. If you're not already following me on Instagram, I post some different things, some a little bit, not quite behind the scenes, but gives you a different look at what we got going on. That's TBG underscore the busy gardener. TBG underscore the busy gardener on Instagram. I'd love to connect with you guys over there. And just love doing this journey with you guys. Yeah, go chop her down, aggro. Just get it done. Get it done, grab it and go. Well, anyway, hey, you know how I say it, whether you got 1 tree to prune in your orchard or 500, say it with me now. Till next time, stay busy. See you guys soon.